Ooh, the sun in my eyes. Get out of the sun there for a minute. Hopefully everybody can still see good enough. Got enough daylight shining on me. So hail and welcome to Freyja's Day live stream. For about the next 15 minutes or so. Nothing too extreme. Like I told you guys before, I do the live streams on Monday mornings, Tuesday mornings, and Friday mornings. So here's to a full week of successful live streams. And I appreciate everyone tuning in to watch. This is an open chat type of thing. This is really nothing specifically in mind to talk about, although we can pick a subject if you want. And yeah, feel free to ask anything. I will answer them as best I can. Share the video as well if you want. Let other folks, if you're tuning in and watching, just share it around and see if anybody else wants to join in. So hail and welcome. And become a subscriber, all that fun stuff. Check out, after this video, check out the description down below for ways that you can support Midgard Musings, all right? So, let's see. Here's one cool thing. While people are joining, waiting for some folks to come in, if there's anybody that tunes in during the middle of this. One fun thing that I was talking with some folks earlier today about was the keeping of kind of how to work with and how to deal with the husvatir and the landvatir. Hey, we got somebody here. Who we got here? Hey, Chris. Hail. So you just joined in time. I'm actually getting to the point of discussion right now, which again, it's nothing official, nothing formal. It's very informal live chat. But I was talking with some people earlier today about the husvatir and the landvatir, mainly the husvatir, keeping them happy or interacting with them. My question was, are the husvatir tied to your home, tied to your hearth, or are they tied to you specifically? Or are they tied to just a structure in general, the hearth in general? And how are they represented? How are they manifested? Because I have pets in home, and it is my belief that the husvatir are manifested through them, or that's kind of like their our purview to them. And so, would it be safe to say that keeping the house pets happy, treating them well, being kind to them, treating them, stuff like that, is that a way of working with and keeping your husvatir? Which, if people who are watching aren't sure or aren't familiar with husvatir and what I'm talking about, I'm speaking about the spirits of the home, the land, the house wights, the spirits that dwell and that are tied to you and the family home, right? Hail and welcome to everybody that's joined. I can't see all the names, but thank you for commenting. Thank you for saying hi. So hail and welcome. But anyways, the house wights, and then you have, of course, the landvatir, the land wights, the land spirits that are tied to the land, and they are different and when working with them in our spiritual workings. But the husvatir tend to stay, tied to us and the family, and so where we go, they go. At least that's kind of how I feel, and that's how a lot of people who I've spoken with today tend to feel as well, is that, they're not tied to a structure. They're not bound to the structure. They are bound to you and will therefore go with you. So if you move homes or if you move living quarters and locations, they kind of go with you. And so that's saying, it's not to say that if you don't have pets or that the husvatir are not there. It's just that they are kind of they're linked to them, or they can manifest themselves through the animals of your home. So being kind to them, treating them well, making sure they're comfortable and loved, will keep the husvatir happy. And a happy husvatir equals a happy environment. An upset or a disturbed Hoshvatir can make for a disturbed home. That's why it's important to keep, things of discord to a minimum. If there's a lot of arguing, if there's a lot of fighting, then that can make for a upset and disrupted home in Hoshvatir. Let me read the comments here. Where we have bloat. Oh, so hey, Chris, yeah, hey. So it says when we have bloat, our offering plate is usually gets eaten by the dogs, so we consider them the portal. Yeah, good thing. That's what I will often do too. Is if I leave, or as I leave, to the Hoshvatir on the altar, then after it leaves the altar, it goes to the pets. So it's important to remember that what you're offering to them is going to be safe, obviously, for the pets to consume. You don't want to give anything to the pets that are toxic or could hurt them in any way. But it's definitely, I feel, an active to communicate and work with those spirits. So that I thought would be a neat thing to talk about. Does anybody here have any other experiences with their own house whites or the spirits that dwell in the home? And how do you guys interact with them? Is it a daily thing? Is it how do you guys work with it? And you don't have to answer, because a lot of this stuff is hearth culture. So you definitely don't have to share it if you don't want to. But I'm always curious. I like to, learn from different people and see what other people are kind of doing. Maybe incorporate it into my own practices. So if you want to share, feel free. Chris says that, let me see, we work or cook prior to, and they get a helping portion and then pour the mead into the fire. It's a great thing, Chris. We may have to hook up. I think you're in my area. Would definitely like to speak with you in person and maybe get to know you a bit better. Because from the sounds of it, you got an approach that kind of mirrors mine. Something that I could definitely get down with. The use of fire is a great thing to send gifts into the sacred, whether it be destroying and burying, whether it be burning with fire, whether it be bogging, which is a really old kind of a Artesian term for gifting. But all these things are ways of getting our gifts out into the sacred. You're destroying it, you're incinerating it, you're burying it, or bogging it, or submerging it, something or another to release it from the profane and into the sacred. So the use of fire in ritual is definitely an active part in heathen spiritual work. How you do it, what you do, is specific maybe to your own hearth culture or the culture or traditions of your tribe or kindred if you are a part of one. But fire is definitely a useful and important tool in ritual practices, I think. And like I said earlier with the gifting to the Hoshvatir, leaving it out as a gesture is something that a lot of folks will do, and then whether it be burning it or submerging it or burying it or whatever into the land later after it's done, like if you don't have pets. But of course, again, having pets, I think it's a great way of getting it to the Hoshvatir in a physical manifestation of it. Where we're presenting the gift in the spiritual gesture on our altars, and then finally releasing it in a physical manifestation through giving it to our pets to consume. So that's a kind of a neat thing to talk about. I was having some conversation earlier today, like I said, with some folks about it, and it made me think, well, why not talk about it here today during the live stream? It could be a fun thing. Else? What else? This Sunday's discussion is going to be about the power of blood from a ritual standpoint, using blood and having blood a part of or as a part of ritual. So that'll be this Sunday's discussion. It'll be live on the Facebook page at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, and then of course the video gets uploaded here on the channel. So it won't be live here on the channel, it'll be live on Facebook. So if you do the Facebook thing, I hope that you can come and join in the live discussion on Facebook for that. And if you miss it, that's fine, because again, it'll be uploaded here on the channel, so no worries there. But yeah, I definitely want to talk about the use of blood, and not just ritual, but the use of blood in general, because a lot of folks will like to blood their runes, or blood their hammers, and blood different things. Chris says his kindred doesn't really mess with the magic side, and wish we could. It's definitely something to not mess around with if you're not comfortable with. So if it's not a tradition, there's no reason to force it, I think. And then not everybody should be doing it. You know, the magical workings of things should, I think, be handled by someone who's gifted enough and can work with sacred, that, you know, the mystical parts of things successfully for the kindred of the tribe to receive good luck. But so yeah, so during the live stream talk about blood and ritual use and stuff, we're going to be trying to talk a bit about the application of it when blooding items as well, whether it be your ritual items or your, you know, jewelry, things like, you know, the hammers or your runes or whatever. I'd like to talk a little bit about that as well, just kind of get a feel of, you know, why do we do that? Why do people want to do that? Why is it even a thing? And then get into the whole application of it in and with ritual. So that, I think, is going to be a fun discussion. Hope to get a lot of people joined in on that. It's always fun to see and interact in real time, or semi-real time, because as I'm recording the video on YouTube, the live stream is going, so it's kind of in real time. You know, my responses may be a bit delayed because I'm, you know, recording a video, but at the same time, I never end the video without going back and reading the comments and replying to people. So, oh, cool, guys. You see that? Oh, you can see it. Shred it! Every time I see those buses, those trucks, I mean, I always get a kick out of it. I'm like, shred it, yeah! But, so, that is that. Hispatir, got to keep the Hispatir happy. You know, a happy and clean home is important too. Cleanliness and orderliness are things that I feel that the Hispatir really get down with and appreciate. You know, so if things are in disarray or disorder or not kept up, that can sort of possibly affect how the Hispatir interacts and exist in your home. If they're upset, things around you will be upset. If things around you are upset, they'll be upset. So there's this symbiotic relationship between you and the Hispatir that exists, I think. So let's see. Thanks, Chris. Well, I appreciate you now joining in on them. You know, and like I said earlier, if you're so inclined and would like to actually physically, you know, speak and stuff on things, there's not a whole lot else going on in the area that I've found anyway that fits a Norse approach to heathenry. There's a lot of good people around, and they're a bit more eclectic in the pagan approach to things, and adopt a lot of different stuff. But something that's very Norse or Germanic focused is kind of what I'm looking to review around here and have and create if there isn't one already. So maybe if you're up for that, we can maybe interact and talk about that. Well, thank you again for saying thank you and for appreciating the streams. Again, you know, me sitting here and talking to a camera wouldn't be as nearly important or beneficial if there weren't folks like you guys to interact with and talk with. So I definitely appreciate all of your support. There's other ways to support Midgard Musings as well. Watching the videos, sharing the videos, commenting like this. This is top notch, guys. It really helps get the videos out there because of algorithms. There's also other monetary ways that you can donate. If you guys don't know, I do have a Patreon going on. I'm trying to work on and get that out there for people to, if you guys want to become a patron, there's little perks, you know. You get, written shout outs at the end of videos, and then depending on your tier level of patronage, you get monthly rune draws, stuff like that. So I'm trying to work that into the mix. There's PayPal donations. There's merchandise available through Teespring and Redbubble. You guys can get T-shirts, hats, men's, women, children's, even toddler sizes through the Teespring store. Everything is linked in the description of all my videos. So if you can't see it now, just check the description later, or check one of my other videos for all that stuff, and then check it all out. There's also this other cool thing called Ko-fi, K-O-F-I, and it's you buy me a coffee. So you click on it, you send a $3 donation, and it's basically like if you were to just sit here and buy me a cup of coffee. So that's kind of a neat thing too. Doesn't cost a whole lot, and it helps out. So consider all that. Check all that out. Got another comment here. Cool, Chris. I'll wait to hear from you then. Anybody else that wants to get a hold of me that's not connected with me on Facebook or doesn't use Facebook, send me an email, midgardmusingstn@gmail.com, and I'll respond to you there as soon as I can. So there's that. There's what else we got? I mentioned the coffee thing. Oh, the podcast. I don't talk a whole lot about that, but that is out there. I do a podcast every week as well on anchor.fm. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a podcast streaming platform. And then my podcast gets distributed on a total of 8 platforms, which includes Anchor, but is also included in there is Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker. There's like a bunch of others that I've never heard of because I don't really use podcasts that much, but I know a lot of people do, and it's really cool. It gets the word out. You can listen to it at your convenience. You can save it to a playlist. So that way you're not like tied to watching a YouTube video. If you don't want to watch it, you just want to listen. So I do other stuff on the podcast that I haven't done yet on the YouTube channel. So there's some cool stuff there. Check all that out. I think as of right now, there's like over 800 playbacks of episodes on the platforms, on the various platforms. So like 800 and some odd different times people have listened, and I think I'm currently in about 6 different countries being streamed on platforms in 6 different countries. So that is pretty neat. So anyways, guys, I'm going to jump off of here now. It's been a fun discussion. Thank you for tuning in and watching today. I will be back for this live stream on Monday morning around 9:30 a.m.-ish. So again, it's every Monday, Tuesdays, and Friday mornings that I go live here for about 15 minutes or so. So thank you, everyone, for becoming a supporter for Midgard Musings, subscribing to the channel, getting really close to that 2,000 subscriber milestone. I want to get there before January 1st, 2020. So remember to subscribe, share the videos, get your friends to subscribe, and we'll hit it in no time. So thank you all again so much for your support. Thank you for tuning in today. You guys have a great rest of the day. Hail.